Well, I can't tell you how cross I am about this, but I've recorded 2 videos today. The episode you're about to watch, and then the following episode, which is an England episode. And my OBS has done its usual thing it likes to do, which is it's decided to disconnect my microphone. So I'm about to do this post-commentary because apparently that's something that the universe just wants me to do. I'm a little bit cross. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 5 of Club 5 here on MyCareer on FM23. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video where I've forgotten what we were going to do. It's the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle, and it's the Champions League round of 16 second leg against Porto. And I'm having to re-record the audio for this because apparently, if I move myself over to the other side of the screen, apparently you can't hear any of that sound. Now, my OBS has done this before where it disconnects. You can see the results on the screen that we've had recently. It does this thing where it will just disconnect my microphone for no reason. I've not touched any wires. I've not touched anything. It's still on my computer. It's just unselected itself as the audio input source, I think would be the right terminology for it. So I'm livid. I'm absolutely livid. But yeah, so I'm literally watching the video. I'm watching the video, recording the sound for it, so it's a little bit on the frustrating side, but bear with me and we'll get through it together. I'm still very cross about it though, but if you would like to show your appreciation and the fact that you feel sorry for me in some way, shape or form, and if you're excited to see whether we can lift a trophy today, do not forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe so you don't miss any of the nonsense coming out of this space right here. Liam Merle, we signed him. Signed him from Barcelona for big money. I can't remember how much it is. It will be on the screen in a moment, but we signed him in January. He's either really good or he's really trash. He's had a few trash games for us, but he's also looked exceptional at times. He's no Jay Lethan, but he's come in and he's done a decent job where we've needed him to. But there's me highlighting when he's been good and when he's been not so good. But he has, on the whole, been pretty decent. He's been a very good other option. I don't necessarily know whether he's performed better than Saka would have done. He's certainly not performed any worse. In some of the occasions, Saka was really frustrating me. Sometimes he played really well, though. So it's kind of very similar, to be honest. But, I mean, Liam Merle's just joined, so bear that in mind. But he's come from Barcelona. We also then signed this guy as well. I called him Victor because I can't pronounce his surname, but we signed him as a right back. Now you're probably thinking, Stu, you already signed 2 really good right backs. The view, you are correct. The reason we signed Victor on loan is because we're now playing Youngworth as a centre back. We completed the promise that we had to him that we'd play him as a right back, and now he's happy for us to play him as a centre-back, and it turns out he's actually pretty good there. We're training him as well. We're making sure that he is solid enough there. I mean, his heading is the one thing that kind of lets him down a little bit. I mean, it's 13. It's not like it's terrible, but the height, the jumping reach, the pace, he's got decent positioning, his marking's decent, his tackling's decent. He's really good. And the extra stats he's got, the passing and the crossing, they lend himself to being a flexible player, but also he's got extra attributes most centre-backs don't have. He can bring the ball out of defence. He can whip the ball in if he's in the position to, and it can be a surprise to the other team. He's quality. He's genuinely such a quality player, worth the ridiculous amount of money we spent on him, and it means Iraragorri gets to start games more, and he's been really good for us this year as well, and he's really come on and developed into a superstar right back. He's the main reason why we looked to move Youngworth. Although I was already thinking about it, his good form is the main reason why we thought about it. Now, I'm highlighting Victor there. I don't know the reason why I'm highlighting Victor there, but Victor, you know, he's a backup right back. You know, we've got a future fee. Obviously, we're not continuing this season, this save after this season, so it doesn't really matter. But we are doing that now. Alvaro Ferrer, it is worth pointing out, we're currently training him as a defensive midfielder. Reason being because Matty Dash is good in some games, not in others. We need someone who's a bit more high quality, but also we need somewhere to put Alvaro Ferrer, because in the nicest way, we now have 5 centre-backs and we only have 2 spots to start. You can probably see where the issue is there. I'm just double checking and I find this guy down here, Brook, who's gone out on loan to Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's got half decent potential. He looks okay. We just let him go just because we weren't going to use him. I thought that was the nicest thing to do, if I'm honest. It felt like the right thing to do at the time. So, yeah, lots of transfer money spent. 708 million, 9 million, something stupid like that. 282 million brought in. we've spent over £400 million this season, which is a lot of money to spend. I mean, £700 odd million is a lot of money to spend. I mean, I'll go through the amounts of the players in a minute, I'm pretty sure. I'll just go one by one over them. And we have spent a hideous amount of money. But you know what? It's fine. It's okay. I've got no issue with spending that level of money if it's going to get us success. And obviously today we have the chance of success in the form of an EFL Cup final. Granted, it's not the most glamorous of trophies. However, it is a trophy. And it is the first trophy that we've got the opportunity to play for. And this is the 11 that we are going to be using. I don't know whether I stick on this screen actually, but I'll wait until we actually confirm it. I'm trying to work out what we're showing here. This is what I decided to do, the run to the final. So we started off with Sunderland, battering them 4-0, 3-0 against Bournemouth as well, a 3-0 against Villa. That one hurt my soul a little bit. And then we got past Arsenal by a 2-0 home first leg win and a 2-2 away draw. That got us to the final. Haaland scoring a few goals as well. Kuchiyara as well, putting a really good shift in as a backup striker. That was very nice. Very nice indeed. So yeah, reasonable run. I mean, we only had one big team and that was Arsenal. So, if we go and have a look at Newcastle's run, and I do click Arsenal here because I forget who's in the final, but if we do the same and look at Newcastle's run, and I found this quite interesting actually, because they had a similar kind of thing to us, where they had one big team, and that was Liverpool, but they had Swansea in their semi-final, 4-1 and 6-1, battering them. They really struggled against Swindon Town, the looks of things, in Middlesbrough. They beat them, but they conceded goals against them, so similar but different at the same time in terms of the runs to the final for both teams. But that leads us to the final. That leads us to seeing whether we can go and basically go and win our first trophy at the club. So the 11 is Rosenbrick in goal, Iraragorri, Youngworth, Stoppelkamp and Mascarell in defence. It's really a struggle to see on here because everything's zoomed out. I'm going to try and zoom my screen in so I can see it, because I'm looking at everything really small at the moment, because in the nicest possible way I don't act. Fortunately, I've gone off topic here while the video is going on, so it doesn't actually matter, but I'm currently doing this on my editing software so I can watch exactly what's going on. I'm looking at the goalkeeping, and I decided to put Petrie in there because Petrie has played all but one game due to injury in the cup competition, in the EFL Cup. So we decided to go ahead with him in the final. Not something I regret doing, even regardless of the result. So it's Petrie in goal, and then it's Iraragorri, Youngworth, Stoppelkamp and Mascarell in defence. Bellingham, Alberto in the midfield with Merle, Kuchiyara and Foden supporting Haaland up front. It's now or never. Let's go out and win our first trophy. That is where I am feeling. Now, I'm just pointing out Disuninic is currently injured, but we've given him an injection just in case we need him, because Mascarell at the moment is playing so much football. Other injuries though, Hadji and Saliba both out. Hadji's not long term. Saliba isn't long term either, but he's more long term, and he couldn't play even if he wanted to. We could risk Hadji if we really needed to, but we're choosing not to, obviously. So Saliba's a bit of a frustrating one because we obviously brought him back from his loan, and I think I'm talking about Ferrer being trained as a defensive midfielder here. Yeah, I am. I'm highlighting it here. It's so hard to remember, even though I did this a few hours ago, exactly what we talked about. But yeah, Ferrer, I think I decided to try and put him on the bench here just in case we do require another defensive option. We do that, and yeah, I mean, that's the team. It's a very good team. Weakest area is the goalkeeper, but it is our backup goalkeeper. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting our backup goalkeeper in the Carabao Cup final. If we get to an FA Cup final, which obviously, you know, at the point of me recording this, we haven't. I'm not going to tell you how far we've got in the competition. If we were to get to the FA Cup final, though, he'd be playing in that as well. Champions League final? Probably not, if we get there. I mean, you'll find out how close we get today, because we might get past Porto in the round of 16. We also might not. Who bloody knows? But let's get into the game, shall we? The main event that we're all ready here for. And one thing I did highlight while I was watching this was James Price starting as a striker. Not something we often see with Newcastle. Usually he plays as an inside forward. It's the position that we played him in at Southampton. So interesting to see him with another potential option under his belt, especially thinking ahead to the World Cup. By the way, the next video after this is going to be an England episode where I've had to do the same post-commentary. It's so annoying. Almost as annoying as Kuchiyara getting injured early on. Oh, that rattled me a little bit, it really did. But we decided to go with Phil Foden in the attacking midfield spot. And we just brought on Rathal, because Rathal has been really good when we've needed him. And Foden is good enough, he can go into the middle and make a difference. So we decided to do that. I have a chat about a couple of different options. I don't really know what I'm waffling on about here. But Rathal comes on. I go between his names so many different times. Is it Rothel? Is it Rothal? Is it Rothel? I mean, it's probably Rothel, because I feel like I say that more often than not. Speaking of which, here's Rothel into Haaland. Haaland gives the ball away. Not ideal, but Stoppelkamp does well. Rothel into Alberto. Alberto now into Stoppelkamp. Stoppelkamp to Rothel. Rothel, Alberto rather, into Phil Foden. And Phil Foden gets it into Haaland and makes it 1-0 in the cup final. I'm so annoyed I'm having to do this commentary again. But it was a nice goal. I will say that. It was a nice goal. Alberto with the lovely, lovely ball here over into Foden. Foden, who we've switched over to the attacking midfield at this point, into Haaland, makes it 1-0 in the EFL Cup final. Happy, happy days. I'd look happier, but I'm meant to be playing through more of the game here, so there's only so happy I can currently look. Right, well, we kick things off, and Newcastle have an opportunity straight away to get back at us. So here they come forward. Again, I apologise, I'm not looking at this on a very big screen. This is on my editing software, so I'm kind of just squinting at this. But as you can see, they do sky it over. I can't really tell who's who. I know my players because I recognise the shape of the names, and that's about it. So, Diogo Costa I do know, because I've used him in a previous save. I used him at Roma in FM21 before I started YouTubing, but really only just before I started YouTubing. I did a save very much like this one, kind of like a Journeyman-y, non-league to legendy kind of save. I started at Leamington, I want to say, and it was funny because I started at Leamington, and I'm pretty sure that I mentioned non-league to legend Lelujo started his save at Leamington that season as well. And yeah, it was really good fun actually. And we ended up at Roma at one point, and he was the goalkeeper, and he was a really good goalkeeper, unlike Petri. But we know he's not got that quality, and it's disappointing to see him concede there. However, I act quickly. I just give him some encouragement. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But I do note that it's Bellingham who gives the ball away, so I keep an eye on him. And we just try and demand more from the boys, because that is not ideal. We want to see us get another couple of goals. We want this to be as comfortable as possible so we can start resting players for the big game in the Champions League. And Leon Stoppelkamp hears me and decides to head one in. And all of a sudden we lead again, 2-1 in the 38th minute. Nice. But the game is not over. We still have plenty of time. But it comes from Iragori with a throw to Merle. What a cross that is from Merle. I had spoken in this video about Merle's inconsistency and Stoppelkamp's as well. Stoppelkamp has had a run of bad games, but both of them combining there in a moment of absolute delightfulness to put us ahead. And who knows, that could be the winning goal. We could score more goals at this point, but as long as Newcastle don't score, that could be the winning goal. Who knows? Certainly not I. Right, Newcastle really trying to get it out of defence here, but we are kind of bullying them a little bit. Eventually they do get it out of defence. That sliding tackle, I am so glad that did not connect, because Merle would have been off the pitch. That was wild, and not in a good way. Price intercepting there, which is nice to see from an England point of view, but Youngworth doing his job well. Youngworth really has slotted into that centre-back role really well. There's been one or two games he's not looked as convincing, and that's the one goal I remembered. And at this point, I'll try and remember to edit it, but my head is like that. And I'm like, because I know Diogo Costa's a good goalkeeper, but my word, what a mistake this is. Merle with a lovely pass. Costa decides to come out and just misses it. And it's easy for Haaland at that point just to tap it in. I could score that. Like, if I'm in that position and the goalkeeper's that far out, I could tap that in with my right foot. Probably tap it with my left foot. And really both. I've just sworn, so I have to remember to bleep that. So, that is half-time. We lead by 3-0. That is lovely, but obviously the game is not over. So we're going to just make sure that we try and keep everyone with positivity. We're just going to make sure that Iragori is not irresponsible. See what I did there? That was awful. Oh. Stop it, Stu. Stop it. We just go around the players and just say what we think we need to say to them. And then I think, I'm trying to think if I make any substitutions here. I'm tempted to, but I don't think I do. We go into the second half as we were. So just the one substitution where we brought Rothel on. And he ended up making a difference, actually, relatively early on when we scored the first goal with haaland. I had to think about it. And he didn't get the assist, but he played the ball into Foden, who got the assist. Right, Merle with a lovely pass to Mascarell. Mascarell to Rothel. Rothel, I mean, that's a weird attempt at a cross, but fine. I appreciate the effort. Sort of. Not really. But Price can't win against Stoppelkamp. And Youngworth now bringing the ball out of defence. Gets it into Merle. Merle having a really good game. Gets it back out to Rothel. Heads it to absolutely no one. And out comes Diogo Costa. Who, I'm just shaking my head at. That mistake was so bad. So very bad. I can't put into words just how... Like, I've had ones like that happen to me, and it just gives you a sinking feeling. Rothel with a cross to Haaland, who's put it in the back of the net, by the way. I can't remember if this gets given or not. I cannot tell you how a mistake like that makes you feel. If you've not experienced it on FM, don't worry, because, yeah, well, at some point, it's rough. It's really rough. And even seeing it happen to the AI... you just get that kind of sinking feeling still a little bit, but also it's really satisfying because the computer's doing it to itself when normally it's doing it to you. What can I say? But yeah, it's 4-1 by the way, and it's very much at this point in the 49th minute looking like we're going to be bringing an EFL Cup home to Manchester in the first trophy that we can win at the first attempt. James Price desperately unlucky there. But that's the reason why I never played him as a striker at Southampton. He was signed as a striker, but we had too many moments like that where we just had to think about how to get the best out of him. And playing him up front really wasn't the way to do that. Now, the reason why he's playing up front is, of course, because they no longer have Yusufa Makoko. They don't have him anymore, so they have to do something. By the way, it's penalty. They have to do something in order to try and kind of get everything working. Now, I decided at this point that in the nicest way, Erling Haaland's done his work. He's got a hat-trick. I'm pretty sure we've got a hat-trick anyway. We decided to take him off because we just don't need to risk him. We're in that period where, as I mentioned, we've got a Champions League really important game coming up. Because, again, the Champions League, I haven't spoken about this much because I was moaning about the fact that I'm having to do this again. Champions League was 0-0 in the first leg, in the away leg. So we've got a home leg where we need to win. So Erling Haaland's a huge, important part of that. So we bring on Desmet. Desmet, sorry, not Desnet. We bring Desmet on and also Jentel de Wild on as well, just for a bit of security, just before the penalty comes in. And I think it ends up being Phil Foden who takes this penalty, if I can remember. It is left footer. I remember seeing a left footer and thinking, I'm pretty sure that's Phil. And Phil Foden steps up and he, of course, buries it and makes it 5-1, 55th minute. Beautiful. Beautiful. And it's safe to say the trophy's coming home at this point. It is very safe to say that the trophy is coming home. Time keeps ticking down though, and at this point I'm just thinking, right, well, what do we do? Because we can keep the players on the pitch, or we can just try and rest some of the more important ones. I dwell on it for a little bit. By the way, de Wild has come on as a right back, just in case you wanted to know. I dwell on it a little bit for a while, whether we rest anyone, because we've only got a couple of substitutions left. And I decided around this point, right, let's make those final changes that we do have. In fact, we've got 3 changes left. Matty Dash comes on. Roman Derica comes on for Merle. Or does he? I mean, I'm having second thoughts about it, thinking about if there's anyone better in the squad that I could bring off. But I go with Derica because he needs the match sharpness. And I think we leave things there. I think there was only 2 substitutions. Who knows at this point? Who knows at this point? Oh, goodness me. I am checking my microphone. I am checking OBS every time I record from now on. On the plus side, though, we won a trophy. And that is the most important thing. We are here to win trophies. This is trophy number 14 for the save, I think. When I was first recording this, I made a point to look down at the website that I do all of my the banners for the trophies on to double check what the last one I made was, and it was number 13. So this is number 14, and it is Jude Bellingham who gets to lift the trophy, and lift trophy number 14, the EFL Cup for Manchester City. Now, I did look afterwards and see that there were some news articles that says we are the most successful club at Manchester City in the EFL Cup. We did that with a very good squad that was mostly already here, obviously, but we did that. Number 10, we've overtaken Liverpool in EFL Cups. Happy days, happy days. We did it in some style, 5-1, but again, I said, the combination of Merle and Stoppelkamp, that could have been the winning goal. I said it because I knew that it was the winning goal, and Merle actually got another assist in the game as well, and again, Haaland with that hat-trick, and then a Phil Foden penalty just to finish things off. Nice. Very nice indeed. Right, I am going to go away. I am going to get myself calm because I'm still smarting a little bit from the whole situation about the doing this post-recording nonsense. And we're going to come back for the game in the Champions League and hope that we get a win. Stick with me and I'll be back in a moment. Okay. I'm calm. And we're here for the game against Porto. I'm calm. It's a new day and we are going to be playing the game against Porto here in the second leg of the round of 16, I want to say. I've recorded up to the end of the season, so I'm a little bit lost as to exactly where we are at this point. So, yeah, this is the 11 we're going to be using for the second leg against Porto. It is Rosenbrick in goal. Iravagori, Youngworth, Stoppelkamp and Mascarell in defence. Dash and Luis Alberto in the midfield with Desmet, Cucchiara and Foden supporting Haaland up front. I tripped over words of players that I've literally just finished saying after recording a video. So I know what happens at the end of the season. You don't. That's an interesting one. But that's the 11. And we've got hella injuries. We've got suspensions as well. Merle has been injured. Saliba's injured. Bellingham's suspended. Desuninik is injured, but he's got injection, so he's in. Yeah, we've got all sorts of issues. Alvaro Ferrer, we've been training to play as a defensive midfielder at this point. The problem is, I keep putting him in under 21 games, and I keep forgetting to change his position. Right, we've talked about the game long enough. Let's just get into the game, and let's just, hopefully, get through 3 points, a win, whatever it is. It's very weird knowing the outcome and trying to pretend that I don't. I'm not going to tell you what it is, obviously. I'm trying to reflect the opposite. So if you think there might be a bit of disappointment in my face, maybe we win. Maybe if you think there's a bit of joy in my face, maybe we lose. Who knows? But let's get into it and let's just get it over and done with. Remember, it was a draw after the first leg. That wasn't ideal. 0-0. I'd forgotten about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd forgotten it was a draw. It feels like a million years ago that we actually played the game. It wasn't, but that's what it feels like. So, game on. Let's see if we can get a win. Is this the first leg or is this the second leg? I'm sure this is the second leg. This is the problem with recording this days apart. I forget everything. It's definitely the second leg. 100%. It has to be. Yeah. This is half. I've got the video in front of me that I've put together already. This is the second video. The second game in the video. By the way, Marco Cucchiara, settle yourself down. Now, I will say I've been a little bit underwhelmed by Cucchiara. I had that feeling at Southampton until his final season when he turned into a superstar. But Cucchiara has been a bit underwhelming. So when he does something like that, well, that makes me happy. That makes me really, really happy. What a strike that is. World-class player, moments of magic like that, and he puts us in the lead inside 20 minutes, which is glorious. Iragori now on the ball, getting forward, hopefully going to whip something in. He actually goes back to Matty Dash here. He goes into Luis Alberto, back to Iragori, into Haaland, and assuming that the linesman doesn't have a problem with it, 2-0 jobs are good. But does the lineman have a problem? The linesman. Do I not have my teeth in today or something? If the linesman has a problem with it, which he does, then it won't be 2-0. It's only the 1. That's a shame. Erling Haaland, by the way, I don't know if you saw how many goals he's got there. It's a lot. It's a hideous amount of goals. I'm so glad he plays for us. But he doesn't have another one, so that's a bit of a shame. But we are bossing the game at the moment. I mean, 6 shots, 2 on target. The 2 on target's a bit disappointing. Let's improve the accuracy there. Youngworth doesn't hear me. He decides that he's just going to not do that. Now, we take a precaution with Kuchiyara. He's picked up a knock. We don't want him to get more seriously injured, so we decided actually to put Foden in the middle and bring Nicky Rothel on. Nicky Rothel has actually had, by all accounts, a very good season, and I mean, I won't tell you how that ends, but at this point he'd had a very good season and broke into the England team as well. At this point of the save, I'm thinking about my World Cup squad because we are playing the World Cup at the end of this save. I don't know if I've actually mentioned that. The last thing you'll see from this save, before we do a roundup of the entire save, is going to be a World Cup special. By the way, full Foden coming on at attacking midfield. Absolutely beautiful. We will be doing the World Cup. It will be in one episode, so it might be an hour long, but we will be doing the World Cup. Don't look at the length and judge it though, because if we end up getting to the final, I might cut the games and I might just turn around and say we'll record. I mean, there's 2 group games. Maybe I'll say that we'll record the group games, but we'll show highlights of them, and then we'll show the full knockout games. Haven't fully decided how it's going to work yet, but that will come after a season review. So yeah, look out for that one. What I might do actually at that point is I might resign from Manchester City so we can solely focus on England. That feels like the right thing to do actually. So I think we'll do that. Bit of future planning in this video. I mean, I might as well, considering I'm having to re-record the audio. Not that I'm bitter. I'm certainly not as angry as I was the other night about it. Oh my god, I was so annoyed. And bearing in mind, I've still got to record the next video out on this channel, which is an England video. I recorded 2 videos before I identified the problem, so you can imagine the foul, stinking mood I was in. I was absolutely furious. Mascarell, by the way, with some lovely play there. Not really focusing on the game here. But we are in control. We're 2-0 to the good. It's nearly half-time. I mean, if we can add a third, it would be fantastic, but it's not necessary. Stopper camp out to Youngworth. Youngworth chipped over. And there is a lovely goal for Desmet. Or Desme. I don't know. He's Belgian, so is it Desme? We go with the French, maybe? I don't know. I'll call him Desmet. Antonino. Signing from Real Madrid, I would say he's been a very good signing. Good backup striker. He can do wonders on the wings as well. Lovely player. If we were at Southampton, he'd be starting for us every week. But we're just that level of club where he can't get into the team. Lovely finish though. Absolutely superb. And it is 3. And I think it's safe to say we're going through to the quarter-final? Is it the quarter-final? Yeah, it is the quarter-final. Keep forgetting what round we're in. But that is half-time, and that is a very exciting half of football, which is lovely to see. So, let's get into the second half, shall we? And let's see whether we can make it happen in the second half as well. That's the hope. That's definitely the hope. I don't really know what I'm waffling on about here. I did pause the video for a second and then come back, but actually you barely noticed on the video unless you're looking at the webcam, but my big face is covering it. I think we're just waffling on at the players here and telling them that they're either good or they're bad, which is great. But yeah, second half, away we go. Let's see if we can add to the goals we scored in the first one. Fingers crossed we can. I mean, nothing's going to beat the Kuchiyara screamer from like 35 yards. Right, Alberto into Youngworth. Youngworth out wide to Irigori. Do you know what? I keep going back and forth on Youngworth as a central defender. He's very good there. However, he's a sensational right back as well. Erling Haaland, by the way, missing a sitter. He is a sensational right back, and that's where I'm torn because he's so good at both positions. But in an attacking sense, he's so good as a right back that's missing as a centre back. Okay, he has scored a goal or 2 with a header from defence. He's doing that with right back because they were all from set pieces. But the problem is as well, as a right back, he's not only really good going forward, but he's good defensively. And it's almost like FM24 has got the whole thing where you can do the invert. What a goal that is from Haaland if it gets given. You've got the whole thing in FM24 where if you've got the inverted fullback and then you've got a player playing as a libero, they all shift around. Or you've got the player playing as an inverted wing back, then the rest of the defence kind of shifts around. I genuinely think if I was playing this in FM24, Youngworth might possibly be a libero, just getting forward. The other option is we'd play a back 3 and it'd be a wide centre back. But I actually think In that back three with an inverted fullback, I think he'd be a sensational libero, just coming forward, just dinking balls over. Like, he's such a good player that he could do that. By the way, Erling Haaland had another goal disallowed there. And for a second, I was really, really happy. And then for a second, I wasn't. Desmet getting a silly, silly red card, which is just absolutely infuriating to me. Genuinely infuriating. It gives us a difficult thing to do. We're 3-0 up though, and it is the second leg, so take that as it is. But obviously, damage limitation, we have to do a bit of shifting around here to make sure that we get the over the line. We don't really want to worry about them scoring loads of goals against us. So, oh my god, dangerous red card to give away. Dangerous red card to give away. There's still time for them to get a goal or two to really put the pressure on us. And we've got those 2 disallowed goals as well, which again puts pressure on us. So really, really silly from Desmet. And then straight away they get an opportunity, but we managed to defend it. Foden doesn't really deal with it that well, unfortunately. But we are getting away with it at the moment. But they still have the ball, Porto, looking to break forward, looking to break through the defensive line. We actually make it quite difficult for them there. But then they break through here. Lorenzo Luca, who I know I've mentioned this before. Again, we used at Palmer in FM22, I want to say, which feels like a million years ago. I'm sure it was FM22. Was it FM22 or 21? I'm in FM21, you know. Oh, I don't remember when it was. Either way, it was a long time ago. And Lorenzo Luca, before he did the dirty on us and went to Manchester United, was our striker and he was really good. Anyway, point being, he didn't score. So, we're still doing really well here, though. We're still on the ball. Luis Alberto with a really poor pass. Actually, Luca gets in the way, doing some good defensive work there. But we intercept the ball. Foden now to Haaland. Haaland with the ball at his feet. And again, Erling Haaland cannot buy a goal. He's got 50-odd goals and he cannot buy a goal in this game for whatever did he score to begin with? I can't remember whether he actually opened the scoring, but yeah, can't buy another goal if he did. We decided to go with substitutions here. No, he didn't score at all, so really having a bad game, Erling Haaland, but we decided to make our final changes. One of them, funnily enough, Erling Haaland. Nika Jijevic ends up coming on. I mean, again, we're 3-0 up, we've got 15 minutes left. Why not bring him on? Derica comes on as well. We bring him on as the winger, and I can't remember what the final change is, actually. Ferrer comes on. We bring him on in that defensive midfield role just to give him a bit of game time there. Not a lot, but it's more than he has been when we were trying to get him that game time. So that's all of our subs. And now it's up to us to just try and see the game out and hopefully not concede a goal. I mean, look at the state of our notable events compared to theirs. They've had 1 yellow card. We've had yellow cards, red cards, disallowed goals, given goals, screamers, more yellow cards. They finally get another thing to bookend the game in the 89th minute. But we win. And that is the most important thing. We get the win. We go through. It's us in the next round against whoever it is. Now, the one concerning thing to me, and you can't see this, is that I've still got another 5 minutes in this video. And I don't know why. I don't know if I randomly paused it and then forgot to do the outro. Now, youth players have come through and they're mostly trash. We've got 2 decent enough players here who could be something. Not that it's going to matter. We're not going to use them. But not 1 5-star potential. That's not ideal for a club the size of Manchester City. That's quite disappointing, to be completely honest. But it is what it is and we have to deal with it. But youth players coming through, always lovely. But we're not going to see the benefits of that anyway. But yeah, we're through. And remember, I want to preface this now. The aim of this save, number 1, was to win the Champions League. We've already done that. This season and the season with Chelsea are postscripts. I'm not reminding you of that of any particular reason, but I feel like I have said a number of times, you know, we need to win the Champions League again. We need to win the Champions League again. We don't need to win it again. We've already done it once, and that was the main aim. But it would be quite nice if we did win it again, and that's the whole reason for us coming to Manchester City. So hopefully, this is so difficult to do when I've already played further on in the save. Hopefully, obviously, we can do it, but it's not the end of the world if it doesn't happen, but I really want to do it. But you saw injuries there. You saw a few things there as well. That red card as well, really frustrating. Phil Foden ended up actually really playing well for us coming off the bench, which is lovely to see. But I am going to personally leave it there, because there's not really much else to talk about in this game, if I'm honest, in this video, because we've won what we've needed to win. We've got through to what we've needed to. So the next time you see us, well, it will be for an England video, but the next time you see us, if for Man City, it's going to be in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. And what we're going to do, if we win the quarterfinal of the Champions League, we'll show you the second leg of it. If we win that, we'll go straight through to the second leg of the semi-final. If we don't win it, as it stands in the game, we've got an FA Cup semi-final. I will show you that instead. And then when we get to that video, again, which I've already recorded, we'll decide what we do from there. So that is the plan. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to leave a thumbs up on there for me. And do not forget to subscribe. It's free to do so. And you'll catch all of the new FM24 content when it comes out soon. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for bearing with me with this shambles of a video. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers.